until you figure it out. Find you a hustle, make your money, and like you gotta have something figured out. Like you gotta have a goal. And you just gotta work towards. You gotta manifest. So like it's a whole lot of power in your tongue, and you just gotta speak it into existence and work.
You gotta be cool, not ever being recognized. You gotta be comfortable with that and not feel away about it as long as we get into the check.
I think you just got to know what you stand for and know what you represent, know what's true to you. Because you can't please everybody. You can't be everything to everybody, but you could be true and you could be yourself and comfortable in your skin and just represent what's real to you.
I'm very much in a space.
What's happening, everybody? It's your boy Creative. Go ahead, say it with me. We are back at it again to do what? To create something great. Now, today I'm super excited what I have planned for y'all today. We're going to be using Google Scholar in order to create or use or adapt, shall I say, what's called an RS filter. An RS filter is a relative skews filter. This is a filter that it helps us to be able to exit positions a lot better for our 0 DTE strategies. So we're going to be going over that, how I found this paper using Google Scholars. Then we're going to be jumping over to Cursor in order to go over something I prepared for y'all to delve a little bit more into relative skewness so we can understand this. So what I'm going to need for you to do, if you haven't already, go ahead and like and subscribe. So let's go ahead and jump in. Now, if you haven't heard or if you don't know what it is, Google Scholars is a place where you can find academic papers, right? So these are people that are a shit ton smarter than me. My name is Creative. I've been coding since about April of this year. It is December. So give or take about 10 months, right? 11 months that I've been coding, and I primarily code with Python. And when I started, I wanted to become an AI software engineer, right? It wasn't until just recently that I started to delve more and more into this algo trading world, right? So I can't for I'm not going to take credit for this. I ain't gonna hold you. I don't know where I got this idea from, but I got this from another streamer that they use Google Scholars. And again, what Google Scholars is, it is a place where academics, PhDs, right, individuals that are like a lot smarter than me, going for years at school like 10 plus years, right, trying to get their doctorate, right? They publish papers on their theses, right? Their theses could be, all right, what is the, matter of fact, instead of just saying that, what I'm going to do, and I primarily work with 0 DTE options. These are option contracts that expire the same day. So what I'm going to do is just put 0 DTE options, right? And then what I'll come, and then what you want to do, and again, be wary. This is Google, right? So you just want to be cautious to where you're clicking. So what I'd recommend, it'll say PDF. Let me just really get that in there. It'll say PDF, right? Excuse me. And that's where you're going to click in order to find the paper. So the paper that I want to reference today is this 0 DTE Trading Rules by Gilkoff, right? Gregory Gilkoff. I appreciate you, my boy, because you really came through. So I'm going to do is click in it. Then it's going to download. Then I bet I already have it downloaded. So what I want to do is go ahead and go over this particular paper. If I click on it, all right, beautiful. So if we click on the paper, I'm just gonna click no, confirm my settings, don't steal my information. All right, Gregor Gilkoff, right? He published this or posted was in December 2023. Our last revised was in January 16th of last year. Right, so this is an empirical study and the first in the series documenting the empirical properties of 0 DTE options on the S&P 500 index SPX a popular strategy built for these options for sample period. Holy shit. I am sorry. So what I want to do, what I like to do is I'll come before I start even read the paper, right? I'll copy. Let's go ahead and go to handy dandy chat GBT. Give me a second. Let me just pull up a session real quick. We'll just come here and then just make this a bit bigger, and I'm going to exaggerate it so you can really see in plain English so we can get it. What is the point of the following paper? Only use 212 total tokens for your output response, and make sure you make it such that even a 12-year-old can get it. All right, beautiful. This paper is trying to, this paper is trying to answer the big question: are same-day options actually a reliable way to make money, or are they mostly chaos? So here's what it found: zero DT options pay. 0 DT options pay people for taking risks, especially volatility risks. That's the variance risk premium. Individual 0 DTE traders are wild, huge wins and then or losses and very unpredictable. On average, most strategies don't consistently make money because of the ups and downs. Some setups can work, like buying deep in the money calls or selling far out of the money options, but sometimes, but only sometimes, but not reliably. The direction and the shape of the market, the skew, matters more than just volatility. So it just doesn't adjust your strategy based on the market conditions. It results in random. So the bottom line, what this paper is saying is that 0 DTE options reward risk, but blind, can I not speak today? Blind daily strategies don't work well. You need a smart conditional rule, and you need to set it and forget it. So that is where Claude Code comes into play. Just make sure my reward risk are GUAP. So now what we're going to do is jump over to Claude Code and review our realized skewness, and then we're going to go over a few back tests so we can understand what it's done for our strategies and the impact, and maybe we'll go ahead and create one live here with y'all. So let's go ahead and jump in. So again, I got this from a 36-page paper from Gregory Vilkoff, if I pronounce this correctly, excuse me. And what he did, he studied 0 DTE strategies from 2026 to 2024, so about 8 years. And he wanted to answer to the question, can anyone actually make money from trading these type of strategies, right? Or these type of options? So here's the bad news that he found. Naked options, most lose money. Returns are crazy volatile. What he means by that, there's going to be some good ones in there, but there's going to be some bad ones in there, right? The thing about 0 DTE options is that mostly with options, right, you're paying for time, right? So for 0 DTE, you really don't have time on your side. So when you do take a position, you want to make sure that it is going well for you. So what Vilkoff, excuse me, wanted to go over or find is like, okay, can we actually make money from these particular options? And we did adapt this for the way we're trading options, and that was very exciting with the results from that. So I need you to just go ahead and stick on, and I'm gonna get to that in just in a few here, but I want to build the basis of how this is and how this works. So if you all do have any questions, go ahead and let me know. I am live. All right, beautiful. So combo strategies like Iron Condor, straddles, and spread are mostly negative returns. Only risk reversals made about 0.01 profit, right? So they barely made money. Retail traders lost over $500,000 a day on average since 2022, right? With 0 DTE strategies. So that's the thing. These are very attractive, right? But if you don't know what you're doing and how to create an algorithmic system that can work for you, and what is an algo system, right? And I know we talked about this in ad nauseum, but an algo system is a buying and selling system, right? That allows an automated buying and selling system that allows a computer to be able to execute trades for us based on the rules that we provided, right? So in essence, it allows us to be able to take our trading book or our trading rules and provide that to a computer and allow a computer to be able to execute trades for us. So we're removing the emotion and we're allowing the computer to be able to really does what it do well, right? And that's follow instructions, right? So when it came to investing in zero DTE strategies, yes, they look good, but we want to make sure that we're protecting ourselves in a way that allows us to be able to take advantage of the upside and not really have that much downside. Now, I'm not saying that it's removing all of the risk, right? Anybody who promises to remove any risk will run away and run away quickly, right? But what I am saying is that this allows us to be able to hedge it a little bit better, right? All right, excuse me. AI and machine learning are great at predicting with the past and sample, failed at in predicting the future out of sample. So the golden nugget, see, this is what he discovered, is that P&L or profit and loss mostly depend on realized skews, right? Which direction the market leans during the day. But predicting the skewness is almost impossible. Like guessing which way the leaf will blow in a hurricane, right? We understand that the wind is blowing, but being able to say, hey, that leaf is going to go north or that leaf is going to go south is kind of hard, bruh, right? So what we want to do is using this RS or realized skew to be able to figure out which way is the market leaning when we have an open position. And this is going to make more sense as we get down to it. So our breakthrough, right, or the breakthrough was Verkov tried to predict RS, excuse me, before entering a trade. That failed because RS at entry doesn't predict renters, right? He tried something different. He tracked the RS during the trade as the exit signal, right? So this is what we did, right? So we tried something a bit different. Instead of doing it at entry, we wanted to say, hey, this RS tool, or this realized skill tool, this is something that's powerful. How can we adapt it such that we can exit positions a lot better? Because the entry, I was never worried about the entry because we spent time in order to flush it out, right? In order to flush out our entry. If you haven't seen it before, what the fuck? I'm going to say that's super different. Let me just show y'all our entry real quick, something that we have fleshed out, and we're going to be going through this a little bit more so I can stay a lot more proper to it, fam. All right, so this is our process when it comes to building out any algo, right? You want to make sure you have a process. I don't care who you are, right? You want to make sure you have a process, and this is our process, right? First, there's the idea. The way that we define the idea is either by being able to use either an AI, whether that's Claude Code, ChatGPT, or being able to get the idea from TradingView, right? So there's multiple ways in order to define the idea, or we can just figure it out ourselves, right? Because buy low and sell high is always a strategy that's not going to go away, right? So there's multiple ways in order to germinate a strategy. So don't let that scare you. Historical data. I get my data from data, right? I have created a couple of videos on how I download that data, the endpoints that I use, so on and so forth, right? There's multiple ways in order to get data for option back testing. This is going to be the tricky part. So that's why I'd recommend, hey, if you want to do what I'm doing, right? I use theta data when it comes to being able to, that's the data that I use when it comes to back testing our options, right? We do use machine learning and optimization, and you're going to see the way we do that. And what is machine learning? Is being able to teach a computer how to correct its errors, right? And there's two different ways that we're going to be using machine learning. There's going to be classification and regression, right? Classification sounds just like it sounds, right? You put shit in categories. Excuse me, you put things. I want to stop cussing. Even though I do knock off in this computer or hit the check mark that this is not for kids, right? But I still want to get better, just not curse for the sake of cursing, right? Classification is being able to put things in a category to say, hey, will this trade fail? Or hey, will the Sharpe ratio increase, right? So it's asking yes or no questions, right? So it's a bit binary in that sense. Then you have regression. Those are being able to quantify it, right? So any numerical answers, right? So for instance, all right, is Sharpe going to go up by 3%, right? So if it guesses right, that's good. If it guesses wrong, you want to correct yourself. So that's basically machine learning in essence. And optimization is being able to adjust or find the parameters that work for the underlying strategy. Next thing that we do after we have created the strategy, then we're going to back test it. Then we're going to use machine learning to be able to optimize it, right? Because I used to optimize it by myself. What I'll do is just go through each parameter. So let's say if I'm using EMA and RSI, right? Instead of doing EMA 212, right? I'll try 313, right? I'll try 414, so on and so forth, right? Because I wanted to be able to build that muscle. Yes, I know how to use machine learning and the different Optuna or the different packages that's available to us in Python. But again, I wanted to build that muscle. So that's why I felt like I built that muscle, and now I'm ready to be able to introduce machine learning and optimization, where we're taking this to the next level. So I'm excited for y'all to see that. Walking forward is a way such that when we are optimizing, right, because it is done automated for us, right, I don't want to overfit the strategy for one particular year. So what do I mean by overfitting, right? And let me know if I'm going too fast or if this is verbal grammar. I know, excuse me, I know I could be I can talk fast, right? Let me know if I'm going too quickly, right? If y'all need me to slow down, but nonetheless, I'm going to keep going if I don't hear anything. So walking forward is making sure that we're not overfitting our strategy for one particular year, that is as agnostic as possible. Hey, I do believe in the Lord. This is the only thing I believe is not going to be agnostic, right? So we want it to work in different type of regimes, right? And there's the idea that you want your strategy to be market regime specific instead of market regime agnostic. What do I mean by that? The market regime specific means that your strategy only works in bull markets, right? Only in markets that go up, right? So let's say if I'm looking at SPY, let me just pull up SPY real quick, and if I can give y'all a little quick example. This is SPY. I'm looking at it on Trading View. I'm looking at the 1 minute chart. So what this means is that each one of these candlesticks represents 1 minute of data between the buyers and the sellers. The red candlestick is going to represent an action between the sellers or the bulls, right? The green candlestick is going to represent the buyers or, excuse me, bears. This is the bulls. My fault. So what I want to do is when we're walking forward, I want to make sure that the strategy can work in any particular year, right? So just being able to go back, right? We're walking forward, so I want to make sure that it works in any particular year. Then after I'm done with the walking forward, we create our bot, and then the bot is the easiest part. Most people want to go from strategy to bot. That's how you crash, right? You want to be able to be meticulous as possible. So I have 3 steps before I even go to the bot development. That's the easiest thing on this whole page, right? Paper testing is being able to simulate to make sure that the strategy can work with in present, right? Being able to back test it, meaning that I'm dropping the strategy in a time machine and I want to see how well it works in the past. Paper testing is seeing how well the strategy works in the present. Then once it passes paper testing, and that's when we deploy our bots, right? So what I've learned with the realized skewness, or RS, it allows us to be able to exit the positions a lot better, and it makes our returns astronomically better, right? And I found this paper via Google Scholars, and I'm just breaking this down real quick. And then once I'm done breaking this down, I'm actually going to go through a back test so we can see how well this works, right? So again, what I'm doing is that we're tracking, the RS changes when we're actually in the position, and we're using that to be able to exit if it goes against us, right? So the key difference is Valkov. He is using RS as an entry filter. We found out that this didn't work. Our approach was being able to use RS, or relative skewness, as an exit filter, and it has exponential results, and y'all going to be able to see that very soon here. So a simple analogy on how it works is Valkov way was predicting where the wind was going to blow if we're imagining that you're on a boat in the ocean, right? So he was trying to predict which way the wind was going to blow before sailing. Almost impossible. Why? Because the weather changes. Our way is like, all right, I know the weather may change, so let me just get out there. Let's start sailing, right? Then I'll adjust when the wind shifts, right? So we are reacting to what's actually happening instead of trying to predict it, right? So RS is like the wind gauge on our boat. When it shows the wind is turning against us, we change course instead of trying to ride the wave, right? Because we're already in the position. What we want to do, if we're betting that the market is going down, I want to make sure that the market is going down for that 3 minutes I'm in the position, right? If it goes against us, yo, get me out, right? So let me go ahead and go to another page real quick. And this one is going to talk about how we validated realized skewness, right? And I know this may be a lot for those that are first time being able to go through code. I primarily use Python. I am going to be using Claude Code in a bit here. If you do have any questions, please let me know. If you want me to slow down, let me know. But what this file does, this script calculates the relative skewness for each day, each trading day. So think of it like a mood report for the stock market, right? So imagine we're watching a basketball game and some teams score small, steady, and the way that they score is either free throws or layups, and other teams score big, right? Other that's dunks, excuse me, or 3-point shots, right? So RS measures this from the stock market. So are the up moves big and explosive like a slam dunk, and are the down moves big and scary like turnovers leading to a fast break? So here's the formula for being able to calculate that for those that are into that kind of stuff, right? Again, I got this straight from the paper, and I'm going to start creating a lot more strategies from this because I was spending time on this weekend, and I found a few strategies that worked out. And don't worry, I am going to be going over that, but I want to be able to build the basis, and this is the start of it because this RS is going to be the gateway, right, for our exit strategy. So let's keep going. So if the market has one big move, so let's say 1% up, that counts more than 10 small 0.1% moves. That's exactly what we want to capture, right? So what does RS actually mean, right? So a positive RS means that we're bullish. So we're thinking that the market is going to go up. A negative RS is showing bearish characteristics, showing that the market is going to go down. And an RS nearing zero is a range about or choppy day, right? So here's a real world example. Let's say SPY, the S&P 500, the top 500 companies within the New York Stock Exchange, had an RS of 0.1. Then we had a big move, right? So we had 0.5, right? And then we're seeing it progress throughout the day. What we want to be able to do is say, okay, you know what? After this time, what is RS? It's negative. Now we see that we're in a bearish market, right? Well, now we're being in a bearish market. Now we're going to account for that. Even though we're up more than 3 minutes, right? Excuse me. Even though we're up 3 minutes and then down 2, the RS is negative because the 0.5 drop was big, right? So the magic number is that it captures the violence, not just the direction. So where did it come from? We talked about that. Professor Volkov studied for 8 years on 0 DTE between 2016 and 2024. He found that your profit and loss, or P&L, mostly depends on realized skewness. The problem, predicting RS before the day starts, is nearly impossible. It's like watching which way the leaf will blow during a hurricane. Our breakthrough is that we don't predict RS. Instead, we track it through trades, and we exit when it shifts against us. So this POC, or point of concept, or proof of concept, excuse me, helps us study this and make sure that it actually works, right? So let's just go ahead and run it real quick and see how well it goes. Oh, I ran it before just to make sure it works, because sometimes we need to make sure if I'm all right. Here we go. All right, again, I'm just going to go through this a little bit quickly because I want to get to our back test. RS tells us where today's up moves bigger or down moves bigger, right? So here's the formula. RS equals sum of the square root of the up moves and then sum squared down moves, right? Again, here's how we tell if it's a bullish or bearish day or if it's neutral. Where does this come from? Professor Volkov, I appreciate you, big homie. Right? Again, we don't try to predict it. We track it. And if it goes against us, then we exit. Right? So let's prove our calculation. We're pulling in data from theta data, right? And I already have it locally. So it's pulling in the data. Then it's going to calculate the RSI for each day. And then it's going to separate it from the up days and the down moves. Excuse me, up days and the down days. And then square and then sum of each and then subtract it to be able to get the formula. So here's what we found out. Now let's understand where RSI numbers are telling us. Total trading days was 251. Days positive, 99 days, right? Days negative, 152 days. Now, this is in 2024. So let's go over that just to make sure that this was correct, right? So most crashy day was the 18th. So about almost this time last year. That's crazy. Down had the Dow. Down moves were huge this day, probably a sell-off. The most jumpy day was the 5th of August. Up moves were huge that day, probably a rally, right? Now the key question, does the RS predict the direction, right? The win rate when it ended up, right? When it was bullish was 92%. When it was negative, it was 28%, right? So yes, the positive days had higher win rate. This means that the RS captures the market's mood correctly. So before we trust the numbers, let's make sure the math is right. So this is how we validated it. The top 5 most negative days. Does this match actual real events? On December 18th, Fed meeting, Powell was hawkish, right? So meaning he's not doing shit. Between the 5th and the 7th, yen carry trade unwind. And between the 4th was the job report fears. So if the market dates matches negative RS, our formula is working, right? So check 2 our RS and the daily returns correlated. The correlation between RS and the daily returns is 0.0475, right? So RS gives us a useful signal. So proof of concept. So this is actually working. So what I want to do, let's go ahead and jump into a back test, right? So the first back test that I want to jump into is one that we've worked on previously. And this is the 1, 2, 3 baby back test, right? So for those that have been watching the channel before, you would recognize this back test. But for those that haven't, let's go over this real quick. So this is a 1, 2, 3 baby back test. This is a back test that is a micro pullback strategy, right, for SPY. So what it's doing, there is a matter of fact, I like this one a little bit better. So think of it like a flagpole with a flag. The flag with 3+ candles in a row, we have a strong momentum push up. And then we have the flagpole with 1 to 3 red candles with a pullback slightly, right? This is the flag hanging. And then the entry, the first green candle that breaks above the flag, right? This is where blast off. Why this works, the strong moves with 3+ green candles shows that the buyers are in control. And then the shallow pullback with less than 20% shows that the sellers were weak. And then the break above the pullback shows that the buyers reclaim control. Now, what we want to do is we want to continue to ride that momentum, right? So this strategy, what we're doing is that we're using Polaris. So what is Polaris? Polaris is a super fast data library. It's like Excel, but on steroids, right? It reads and manipulates the rows and the columns of the data much faster than Pandas. So think of it like a high-speed spreadsheet engine for millions of rows. Then we're using DuckDB, and I'm excited about this one, a new way that we're going to be backtesting now because I found it to be a lot more efficient. This is a lightweight SQL database that runs inside our Python script. Instead of loading huge files into memory, we query them directly on this disk. This is like having a mini post SQL database without needing to install anything. Pandas is the classic. Pandas is Excel for Python, right? So think of Pandas like Flash and then Polaris like Dash, right? If you know, you know. NumPy is the calculator for Python. Allows us to be able to use for logarithms, differences, and then square root calculations. This is our calculator that allows us to be able to do our calculations. Our plotlib, this is, instead of a messy string connection, we can have, it handles Windows and Mac path differences automatically, so we don't have to worry about figuring out, okay, which path is correct or not. Date time, of course, bring in the date time. And then the time allows us to be able to measure how long the back test is going to take, right? So we talked about the back test. Let's go ahead and run it because I feel like I've been talking for God knows how long. All of our back tests until told otherwise is going to start with $100. And we want to be able to dispel the notion that you need thousands of dollars in order to back test, right? You don't. So what I'm going to do is close this out. I need to grab our Conda environment real quick. So what is a Conda environment? It is a garage, for lack of better words, that has all of the Python libraries that I'm going to need. For this particular session, I have Algo Baby. This has everything I need for anything option related. I'm going to run our strategy. Oh, shit. Hold on. You know what I did? You know what I forgot to do? My fault. Ah, crap. Listen to me. No, you're not. I need to, let's check the year. So we're using the ATR filter. Yes, we're using the volume filter, EMA filter. Okay. What I want to do is turn this off because I want us to prove a point and see how the strategy works with it and without it. Let me check the year. All right, we're in 2023. Yeah, I'm fine. Let's test on 2023. Run. I just need a new terminal. All right, so we're going to run this on 2023. Let me grab the path real quick. I need the, let me copy you. Guap. All right, now we're running our back test. Remember, what is a back test? Is being able to take your strategy, drop it off in a time machine, and seeing how well it does in the past. And I'm back testing the strategy, and I turn the filter off, right? So the filter is not on. So this strategy was able to have 247 trades, right? It turned $100 to $4,000. So that's not bad, right? Win rate is about 62%. Right, out of 140, out of 247 trades, we won 155. Average trade was $49. Average loss was 36. Average hold time was under 3 minutes. Right, so that's not bad. Here's some of the sample trades. Right, not bad at all. So what I want to do now, let's go ahead and turn the filter on. So what I want to do, let me put this in the chat so I can just keep track. Yeah. I don't think, nope, I think that's too much. Let me just do this. Let me put this in the chat so I can keep track of it. All right, now what I want to do, I should have said without the filter. Now what I want to do is turn the filter on. V2. Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Okay, boss. Let's go ahead and toggle this on. True. Yes. Copy that. So y'all remember, it was like 4,300, right? Now I turn the filter on. And for those that have been following me, y'all see how this back test is just flying through here. Y'all noticed before, you'll see it's at 4,300 in August already. It's just, damn. All right, let's look. So win rate bumped up. Instead of it being 62%, now we're at 75%, right? So instead of having $4,000, now we're at $19,000, right? Instead of having an average run of like 64, now our average run is 130, right? Average loss did bump up a little bit, but average hold time did drop down, right? So I'm not going to hold you. That's why I'm saying this is definitely legit and definitely helping us out being able to exit a lot better, right? So now what I want to do is let's go ahead and open up Cloud Code. Let me just open up a new terminal. Let's get the 4.5 op as homie. Let's get the op as homie. And then what I want to do is I kind of wrote white papers, if you would, based on this real life skewness, right? And what I want to do is just bring this over to JIT and make sure it reviews it. So using grep and awk terminal commands, review the following and make sure you have a basis of what is going on here. Well, grep and awk it. Do not try to read the whole file at once. I found out that being able to do that sometimes I lose all my tokens, bro, and it hallucinates. So just take your time, bro. Take your time, whoa. Take your time. And if y'all do have any questions out there, Bam Kone, as is always was. Take your time. All right, beautiful. So I talked about this, so I'm not going to go over this again. So we just went over it. All right, bet. So now what I want to do is I want to prove a point. I want to go to a back test that has been giving, I say giving me the fuck problems, bruh. Let me go to this. Let me go to the folder real quick. Let me clear you out. CD, boom, CD. All right, so let's go review this back test real quick. All right, let me run it, and I'm low-key. I'm going to need to redo this because it's not working. It's not loading. It's still using Pandas. I'm supposed to be using Polaris. I mean, NumPy is good. It's supposed to be using Polaris and Pandas to make it load a little bit faster. This back test only trades between 9:33 and 10:44. It is only one trade per day. It is using EMA and Bollinger Bands. So this is a gap strategy. So what it's doing, it's using IWM or the Russell 2000. And what we're trying to do is whenever there is a gap, we're betting that it's going to revert back down to its average, right? So let me give you a representation of what that looks like. So this is SPY. SPY is the S&P 500, the top 500 companies within the New York Stock Exchange. I'm using the Bollinger Band, right? Just like I'm using with this strategy. So this middle line right here, it lets you know that this is the moving average, right? A moving average could be an SMA, an EMA, a DMA, right? RMA, whatever fancies your heart. I'm using an EMA, an exponential moving average for my middle line, right? This upper band is going to be our overbought line. Whenever we see a candle, and I'm using the 1 minute candle, what that means is that each one of these candlesticks represents 1 minute of action between the buyers and the sellers. The red one is going to be the bears or the sellers. The green one is going to be the buyers or the bulls, right? So what I'm saying is that whenever we see a strategy, whenever we see a candle bounce and touches the overbought line, right, it's always going to revert, not always, but a good majority of the time, is going to revert back down to its average, right? Whether it's crashing through, you're seeing what it's doing, it's reverting to its average, then it'll maybe bounce a bit. And also here, right, it's crashing down, then it's reverting back down to its average. So we created a strategy here that allows us to be able to take advantage of those bounces, right? Either it's going to be a bounce up or bounce down. We do have 3 different take profit levels. I may drop it down to just 2, right? I think here it's a bit redundant, but let's see. And I'm interested to see how this ARS or relative skew is going to help us. So let's just go ahead and run this back test real quick and see how well it does. So what it's doing right now, it is loading in the data. This one is going to be a bit more conservative, right? It is still going to load it pretty fast, if I may say so myself, but okay, because it's not that much. So as you can see, it is working through, right? All of our strategies start at $100, and right now, it's working its way. It just closed. It's at 350. So as you can see here, it's on the bottom, right? As it updates, you can see it here. So whenever there's an update, it just crossed okay. Nice. It just crossed $1,000. So it took 30 some odd trades in order to get there. So we're at 1,100 right now. Where are we? We're in April and we're at 1,500. So the strategy is performing well. So it's not to say that my signals aren't good or the strategies aren't good. No. What I am saying is that this relative skewness, right, is just about to take this, and I'm not going to say it's just going to exit, right? Maybe it's a 2x, maybe it's a 3x, right? Being able to make sure that we exit better, because you can find a signal all day, every day, right? But if you can't manage the position and being able to exit when the market turns against you, who the heck cares? So that's why I really wanted to spend some time in going over this, because this really can turn a strategy that doesn't perform well at all into a home run. And I've seen this do that a few different times. So we're running our back test. and the strategy just crossed 8,000. My fault. All this talking. And it's in July. I'm using IWM, y'all. IWM is a Russell 2000, right? So you got to be able to understand if this was using QQQ, I don't know what it would do, right? So that's what I kind of want to do is I want to adapt this to QQQ, but I want to let y'all see what it's doing on IWM right now. It's kind of dumb. It's kind of stupid. It's at 32,000, bro. 32,000, 36,000. Started at $100. That's what I'm like, man. Imagine if this was QQQ, right? Or QQQ, the top 100 tech companies within the New York Stock Exchange. Or imagine if this was IWM. So let's go. I would definitely consider this vibe coding. I'm not gonna hold you. This is just another session with me. Another session with me. The strategy's at 80. Okay. This is where it gets ridiculous, ladies and gentlemen. Strategy started at $100. It ended at $82,359.23, right? So you can't tell me this is IWM, right? 220 trades. Our win rate is 90%, fam. 90%, right? Best trade 2,000, 2,300. Worst trade 10,000. Even if I double it, best trade is still more Gucci, right? So what I want to do is say, all right, bet. Review the following backtest and make sure you understand it. Then explain it to us and how it works before we proceed with the work for today. Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Would y'all like me, like, whenever I do go live, I could play music in the background. I did buy this package, if you would, from Epidemic Sound. I don't know why every time I say it, I want to be able to do that. I can play it. Hold on. All right, this is a 0DTE IWM option backtest that trades volatility breakouts using EMA and Bollinger Bands, puts crossover signals, calculate the jumpy indicator, apply the Bollinger Bands. Okay, beautiful, 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 beautiful. All right, we want to take the same strat, right? Not change anything, but make it for QQQ instead of IWM. Are you ready to do so? But we need to create it like the following. Hold on. Now I just need to remember all these files are, which is like super fun. I think it's data. All right, here we go. Because data uses Polaris. Beautiful. Grep and awk to see how we're using Polaris and DuckDB. Then we need you to review where is it? Boom. This is QQQ, right? This is QQQ. Beautiful. for QQQ data path, and also the level of doc strings and comprehensive ending metrics we expect. Now, once you're ready, advise before we create it. Now, this is interesting. Now, I just want to bring this back that this IWM version, right, was able to take 220 trades. It started at $100, and then it was able to take $100 and turn it into 82,000. Now, IWM by virtue isn't volatile at all, right? Even though it's the smallest 2,000 small cap companies within the NASDAQ and the NYSE, right? It isn't as volatile as QQQ, which is the top 100 tech companies. So I'm interested to see how this strategy is going to perform. And I'm taking everything the same. So it's not like I'm changing anything, right? So I'm taking all the basis of this strategy. And I definitely built this here with you all, right? So it's not like we're doing anything different. So it still does follow our rules here, right? Remember, we're taking the strategy idea. We already have the idea. Where we're at right now is step 2. So we're back testing. Now, once we back test, then I'm going to show you how we're going to be using machine learning in order to help us optimize and walk forward. So right now, if you're following along, we are on part 2. We already have our strategy ideation, something we already created. So let's keep going. Oh, hold on. My fault. Tripping. Okay, you ready to build? Polaris. Beautiful. Okay. Do you see how Cloud9 was able to pre-index as well and vectorize? So the performance of the backtest does not take long. Did you see that before we proceed? So this is going to be interesting. What do y'all think is going to happen? Are you familiar with IWM or QQQ? Right? You ever heard of IWM? I'm waiting to see what the response. Okay, beautiful. Now I see the key optimizations. Perfect. If we don't do this, backtest will take forever. All right, pre-index, vectorize, Boolean masking. All right, beautiful. Batch by day. All right, perfect. All right, perfect. Now let's proceed to create the backtest. Let's call it Meanie Queen. That's what I'm gonna say. No. Who? Beep bop. Bebop baby. That is too long. Beep baby. Nope. What kind of damn call this? I don't know. This sometimes I be taking this is Bollinger Bands and EMA. So Bully EMA bt.py, and let's proceed. Make sure not to skip anything, and ensure ready to be ran, and ensure to have did you see how we're going to add the RS to it? Review. Okay, I'm going to show you the whole point of this, right? I need to go to data. There's data. And then I'm also going to show PB&J. Review to get an idea of how we did it / do it before we proceed. Holy shit, y'all see this? See your code in review. See how many tokens you've used and what models were your favorite, and tab completion, agent, and messages. Enjoy the extra included Composer 1 this holiday season. That's dope. I use normally there was a time, I'm not gonna hold y'all. Like I used to when I say go crazy on Cursor. I remember when Cursor used to have this slow and fast lane. Well, like they would give you so much fast lane credits, right, every day. And I used to go through them maybe like they said it would take you 6 hours, but it'll take me 30 minutes, 40 minutes, right, to be able to go through them. This is when I was first learning. So oh man, those times, and it's like it wasn't like it is now where you had to pay for the shit, right? Unlimited was unlimited, but they'll put you in the slow and fast. So before, when you run out your fast, you're just waiting slow, and sometimes slow. If you submit, let me show you an example. Let's say if I submit, okay, create a file that says hello world, right, in Python, right? You see how quick that is? And the slow, the shit will be take like 40, if not 50 minutes, bro, just for that one little thing. And Cursor changed this around July, if not June of this year. They just said, fuck it, just pay for it. That's when they turned that. So I'm going to do that later. So that's just interesting. I just want to get my little tidbit there since they want to bring that up. Got it. RS implementation. During, check each bar, car. Okay. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, let's get it. Let's get it, shawty. Let's make sure not to skip any detail. All right, so I'm gonna let this output real quick, and I'm gonna grab some te quiero agua y me. I'll be back in a second. Damn, I just did all this and it's still not done. That's crazy. That crazy, whoa. That's fine. Oh, you know what I need to do? Let me just go ahead and get prepared. Am I in Gappy? I'm in Gappy, right? Yep. What I said to call it. I already know the file name. Damn it. I thought I had the file name. I do have the file name. I just don't have it like. Okay. I'm looking for the file name. Where you? All right. I feel like it's lost in this text. Instead of just doing that, I'm just gonna wait for this. Give it about another minute or so, and we have this up. I totally didn't tell you to call it that, but all right. You're just gonna take liberty. Make sure. Copy the file name. Just to make sure. Because boy, did I tell you the pain that I went through with this new Claude code usage. Bullsh. All right, bet. I kind of want to open up. Let me just open up a new one so we can like really compare it. Anyway, the Conda environment. Let me try Conda, activate, algo, baby. Boom. Clear Python, run. All right, here we go. So y'all see it. I think it's not as look, you need to make that better. Which I am, but I just wanted to test that it's actually running. These are returns in the chat. Yes, these are actual returns. Yo, what's going on? These are returns that I showed from being able to add this realized exit filter. The strategy went from 4,000, right, to 20,000, just with this one little filter. And what I'm doing right now is I'm testing it. This is one strategy that I already had, and it's testing QQQ. Excuse me. This is IWM, and IWM is a Russell 2000. So 220 trades, it went from $100 to 82,000. Right now, I'm testing the same strategy on QQQ, and QQQ is a Russell 2000. Right now, it went from $100, and right now it's at 2,300, 2,500. Right. So I want to see how well this strategy is able to adapt. Number one, to a different ticker symbol, and number two, being able to use this new realized skew filter that I've added to our strategies now, because what I've seen, like, yo, I'm not gonna hold you, is actually helping us exit better, right? So to answer your question, that was a long-winded way of answering. Yes, it is. But what's up, Javon? It's been a minute. Hope all is well. Welcome back. I hope your week has started well so far. So the strategy is at 8,000, right? I'm taken back right now. I'm not going to hold you. That it translates well. It's about half the year, and for a strategy to go from $100 to be at 13,000, right? For 7 months in the year, and all you had to do was start the bot and stop the bot. That's not bad, right? Just to say, this is not financial advice. For those that are seeking financial advice, please make sure you talk to a certified financial planner, financial advisor, those that are licensed in order to assist you with those questions. This is merely educational. But nonetheless, man, 30,000, right? And I get it. This is on historic data. I get it, right? But before I even get our strategies to that point, right? Remember our steps. We already had the idea, so that idea part is already done. I'm back testing right now, right? So as soon as I'm done with the back testing, yes. Oh yeah, I paper trade every day, every single day. This is a new bot. So this would be a new bot that I want to be creating here live with y'all. So I'm definitely going to create this bot live today with y'all, but I paper trade every day. I paper trade anywhere between 10 and 15 bots a day, from QQQ to IWM to SPY. So yes, I have started paper trading these bots. But this one right here, this one is going to be launched tomorrow. Like, I'm going to make this bot tonight with y'all. I just didn't expect these. Hey, look at that. It crossed 80. It crossed 83,000. Right. This one, this strategy. This is the IWM version. This is the Russell 2000 version. It took an entire year in order for it to get to 82,000. Right. This is the QQQ version. QQQ version. Let me see if it's gonna cross. Wait. It crossed $100,000. This is fucking ridiculous. Unless I didn't know what it was going to do. I honestly didn't know what it's going to do. It went from $100 to $100,000. All you had to do for this strategy is just turn it on and turn it off. That's not a bad job. Most people got to wake up and go clock in and deal with an annoying ass boss. All you got to do is wake up and turn the strategy. Make sure you have internet. Right? Make sure you have the data you need. And I'm going to go through all that, where I'm going to make this bot tonight with y'all. So you're going to see how I make a bot and which data that I use. So you're going to be able to see that. I'm just going through, again, the steps. We're back testing right now. I've already did the strategy. So I'm back testing, and then I'm going to use machine learning in order to optimize the strategy and also walk it forward. Then we're going to make our bot. Then tomorrow I'm going to paper test it. Then I paper test it for maybe a week, maybe two. Oh, I also have this dope thing that I just added to paper testing, where all of our bots have memory now. So they're actually able to remember, all right, I've seen this trade before, right? And is this going to work for me, or yes or no, right? So that's also something I'm going to implement as well. So I have a couple of cool things for y'all. So I'll make sure you just stick around. But nonetheless, let's keep going. The strategy started at $100, went to 101,000. This is, I keep wanting to go back and forth because this is the IWM version. It took an entire year. It's still great, right? Who wouldn't want a strategy, excuse me, that goes for IWM, that goes from $100 to 82,000, right? I just took the same strategy, added the RS filter, and then went from $100 to 100,000. That's not bad. Sharp ratio is 1.41, so phenomenal, right? Total trades is 250. Look at this win rate, 96% win rate. So out of every 10 trades, 9 of them are winning. Again, I understand this is back testing. This is on historic data. I get it. I'm interested to see what this strategy is going to do in the real world. This is the highest I think I've ever seen. For every $1 that the strategy is losing, it's making $100 back. That's kind of ridiculous. Max drawdown is 1%. Phenomenal. Average win, $419. Average loss, $109. So it does lose. I don't want to make it seem like we lose. This strategy does lose, right? Right, but it's not as high. Best trade was $4,000. Worst trade was $500, right? So even if I double that, even if I triple that, that still doesn't touch the best trade. Average hold time under 2 minutes. Most consecutive wins in a row is 54. A 54 win streak. Most is 52. 1. So let's look at the calls and puts. There was 112 trades for calls, 96%. 139, 97%. 41,000 for calls, 60,000 for puts. This is not bad. Month on month, strategy was profitable, and it seems like every month it's making more and more money. I mean, there's a little bit of a dip between. Looks like November was the best year. So what I want to do is I'm going to take this. I'm going to feed it over to. What I want to do. Copy. Make a new file real quick. drop it in here. Then come over. I noticed that if I just paste it in Claude Code, sometimes it'll spaz. So I'll just make a new file, drop the results in there, and then I'll say grep and awk. And the reason I'm using grep and awk because I don't want Claude Code to review the entire file, because that's how it would just go through all of my tokens, right? So I need you to grep and awk to review the results from this backtest. Then we want to run it on 2023. This is phenomenal though. Not gonna hold you. This is kind of, I didn't think it was gonna do that well. Like, I'm not gonna hold you. Like, this is not rehearsed. I don't want to make it seem like, oh, like I'm gaslighting you or anything like that. No, I did not think that this was going to do this well, right? Hold on. It needs the conda environment. I thought I gave it to it. Run it in the conda environment. What do you do? Oh, you fuckface, bro. I'll run it. You're trying, bro. My goodness. All right, let me go ahead and run it on 2020. Oh shit, I just got whatever. Python. And I thought so. Could you not just 2024? Goodness gracious, bro. You made it that difficult, huh? Let's update so we can change in file if we want to change year. All right, give me 1 second. I didn't think it was going to be this difficult. Sometimes the artificial part, right? It is quote unquote intelligent, but don't forget the artificial part. So I'm having it updated so I can change. It's like, all right, I want to be able to test for 2023 now instead of 2024. Bet. See? Beautiful. No, Jit, I didn't ask you to remove Polaris. It is working. Put it back. The artificial part. Y'all see, sometimes I really be arguing with the AI, man. I really do be arguing with the AI, bruh. Everybody want to use it. Gucci. I really shouldn't have to do all that. I really should just put 2023 and be like, all right, we Gucci. So I'm updating our backtest right now to see how well it's going to run in 2023. I just finished 2024. 2024, it went from 100. I should have copied it and put it in the chat. My fault. No, bitch. You don't get to run it. All right, Brett, we're running it on 2023. Again, all of our back tests started at $100. Right now, it is about to finish January, and it's about to be at a okay, that's crazy. We're in February right now. It's already crossed $1,000. So let's just see how well this strategy performs in 2023. You already saw the ridiculous numbers for 2024, right? So let's see how well it is for 2023. And if the numbers are on par for 24, then I'm just going to go straight to bot development. So think about this. Not even let's call it 6 months, right? 6 months, 10,000. That's kind of crazy. Half of the year, 20,000. So you double your money in the month you just made 10,000. That's telling me you know what you're doing. So this strategy, I love it. Again, what it is a mean reversion strategy. Just so let me just quickly go over this real quick while it's running. So what is mean reversion? Mean reversion uses resistance and support, right? So what it is, so let's call this QQQ. So let's say QQQ bounces through the resistance level. What I'm betting is that it's going to go back to this average. Let's call this the average. If it crashes through the support level, what I'm betting is going to go back to its average, right? And currently, this strategy has went from $100 and it's looked like it's about to cross. Let me just wait. Okay, 97,000. That's not bad. $100, $98,000, right? And all you got to do every morning is just turn on this strategy. 98% win rate. So less money but higher win rate. That's not bad. This again, it's kind of ridiculous here. This profit factor, for every $1 that the strategy's lost, it said, okay, you know what? I'm so sorry. Let me go make $200 for you, right? Kind of ridiculous. Average win, 399. Average loss, $110, right? Best trade, oh snap, my fault. Okay, there we go. Best trade, 2,400. Worst trade, $152. A consecutive win streak of 155. I think that's kind of ridiculous. I'm not going to hold you. I appreciate you, and I can't wait to get you out there in the real world to see you how you are in the real world, you know, because this is on historic data. And for 2 years, you're able to show me that you're performing well. So let's see how I was able to act in the real world. It only lost one time. That's crazy. Puts and calls are damn near the same high as win rate. And every month over month, it looks like we are improving. Is there a month that stands out? Yep. We have August. That's what's up. Shout out. August was our best month. Crazy. Right. So I'm not gonna hold you. Let's double check and make sure the parms and configs of the strat. All right. I really hope that if I can copy this and it doesn't spaz. Please don't spaz, bro. Please don't spaz. Y'all gonna see review results from 2023. Thank you. And then let's discuss. Now we have 2 years of data from backtest for this strat, and double check and make sure that the RS filter is working and enabled. If the RS filter is off, hold on, let me just go look real quick. Where is it? The RS filter is on. All right, that's what's up. Okay, so RS filter is already on. All right, so the RS filter is already on. Yo, we got a strategy that's ready to pop, ladies and gentlemen. This is just phenomenal. RS filter is on. Final balance, and I kind of want to test 22, but y'all kind of get the point. Sharp ratio is ridiculous. Max drawdown is phenomenal. This profit factor, again, I just think that's something to be able to highlight. This is one of the highest I've ever seen. I'm doing it here with y'all. Again, what its profit factor is telling you, for every $1 that the strategy loses, it says, you know what? I am so sorry. Please forgive me. Here's $116 in the case of 2024. And in the case of 2023, here's $122, right? That it makes back for us for every $1 that it lost. Consecutive win streak, 155. Consecutive win streak, 54. Yeah, this strategy is ready to go. All right. Let's create a backtest journal for this strat and include the results for both backtests. Make sure to have the objectives area for objectives and strategy overview, and under that the details regarding the backtest results. Make it comprehensive, and do not overlook any detail. All right, so while that's, I need to go to our other folder. This is where we create our bots. I like to keep them separate. So this folder, our option baby, this is like the start of the whole, my fault, the start of the idea, and then I'll backtest. Now the machine learning optimization is on a case-by-case basis. Like if a strategy is really, it really needs it, then yes, I'll do it. But I mean, the strategy, y'all see it here. The strategy went from $100 to 96,000 and 100,000, right? I really don't need to optimize that. I need to get it out there in the real world and seeing how well it performs, right? So right now, I'm going straight to our bot development because we already checked off this. We already checked off our back testing. Now I don't need these two parts, right? I'm going straight to our bot development, and then we're going to be paper testing it live. I don't know if it's going to be here or Twitch. So let's keep going. Bet. So I need to come here, and then I need to open up a session. Hold on. Gappy. There is you, but let's open up a Claude code. I need to go get the 4.5. All right, bet. Let me go ahead and copy the back test. Drop you in there. So this is how now I'm going to create the actual bot, right? So we had the idea, we checked it off. Now we're going to actually create the bot for said strategy, and I'm like really looking forward to being able to back test this one. Now I'm going to do some extra parts in this that's really not needed, bro. But since I'm here, I'm like, bro, I might as well. We had the again, so I'm going to take some liberties, and I'm going to let you know which ones are liberties, right? And like actually not need if you feel me. But if y'all do have any questions, please let me know. I'm not Jamaican. Sometimes I just catch accents, bro. But it's not like disrespectful. Backtest journal. Okay, where is it? F. Beautiful. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Copy. And then boom. Drop you off. And then I'm not gonna hold you. Let me go ahead and just leave you down. I'm not gonna hold you like, okay. Let's also create a steps taken where we break down what we have done to get to this point. Do not miss a detail or discussion point. This is like having a scientific log or diary, if you would. Proceed to create it. And I like to have the steps taken because sometimes I like to retrace my steps, right? And say, okay, you know what? Why did I do this? What made me take this particular route or road, excuse me. So yeah, so I'm very meticulous on this. So now I want to have that done, and then once I have my steps taken completed, then we can go ahead and create our bot, brah. And I'm gonna take my time and like I'm gonna really make this fucking bot. I say one of the best ones I made so far. I made like 25 to this point. But this one I'm really just gonna put like chef kiss it. Not to say the other ones aren't good. They are, bruh. Like really, really. Just to talk my shit real quick. Let me just show y'all one, right? Hold on. Let me show y'all. Let me just show y'all range, baby, real quick. And all of our bots, this is all you have to do. I come and I open a terminal. I go to the folder. I hit Python. I'm pretty sure it's range, baby. Py. Okay, I spelled it wrong. Range, baby bot. So Python, range, baby bot.py. And then this is the bot. This is what I do every day. Every morning. I'll come, I'll start it. And this is what it looks like, right? But I want to make it a little bit better. So I want to make the feedback a little bit better. I want to make the UX UI a little bit better. This is just one of our bots. This bot trades QQQ 0DTE, and this is for a squeeze strategy, right? I did build this here live with y'all. So this is what I'm going to be doing with this particular bot, but I want to be making a little bit better, right? Just a wee bit better. Let me go ahead and close this out. And as soon as I'm done, just go ahead and kill that. And then guess what? It just clocked out today. What I'm doing here, I'm still making the steps taken. I like to have that. So development log. All right, beautiful. So I can see, all right, what I'm doing, how I got here, why did I get here? I bet. So now I'm going to come to this one. Without reviewing our code base, what do you know about option algo trading bots? All right, bet. Okay, based on my general knowledge, not your code base, here is option algo trading bots. We already have a strategy. Key components, our data feeds, right? We're going to be getting our quotes and our Greeks and our IV from different places. So the quotes, Greeks, and IV is probably going to be coming from Thinkorswim, Charles Schwab, or Tasty Trade, right? And then we're going to be having backups with Theta Data, right? I know I use Theta Data primarily for to being able to get the historic information, but I can also use them for real-time data. But I like to use Thinkorswim. I mean, Alpaca sometimes, but not really. Alpaca is what I use for the stock price, or for the option data, it's either going to be Thinker, and y'all going to see it. Matter of fact, let me just show you real quick. So I created this unified data orchestrator, right? That has Alpaca, Tasty Trade, Charles Schwab, and Theta Data, right? So Alpaca is what I use in order to get the stock data. Tasty Trade, or TOS, or Charles Schwab, is what I used in order to get the option, and also Theta Data in order to get the option data. Now, I'm not going to hold you with running a few bots. There's going to be some times that one of these providers are just going to crap the bed. So that's why I like to have redundancies. If one goes out, then another one picks up. It's like, all right, you know what? You don't got to worry about it, Tasty. I'll take over it, right? So that's why I created this data orchestrator that all of our bots use. And it's a little bit easier to be able to manage them. If one is having an issue, it just reports it out. Okay, I don't have to go look at your file. Then I can just fix it instead of having to like individually go through all of them. So this is the one that I have. I bet. What I want to do now is, all right, we are going to create a bot, a QQQ trading bot. But first, we need to build your context. Well, we need you to review first Remember, you don't share your API keys with anybody. Review using grep and awk, then shit. I'm also going to give it, I might just give it to it now. Here is, but you know what data one I want to get? No, this one is fine. Okay, hold on. Thinkorswim is right here. API docs. Guac Thinkorswim. And then here's Tasty Trade. Grep and awk these. Then run a series of terminal commands, C curls, to make sure that there is no issues before we go to the next part of this sprint. Hold on. Just have to be stern about that, because remember, you don't share your keys with nobody. I don't care if they promise you $20 billion. And I'm being exaggerative for a reason. You don't share your keys with nobody, bruh. Did I tell you to grep and knock it, bro? You trying to read some shit live? Thank you. What's happening right now is we're testing all API connectivity to all the providers, to making sure, I know they work, but I want to make sure that the AI knows this works, so it can't tell me shit, right? This is just part of the process. There's a bit of redundancies that I want to have here, right? Just to make sure that it's Gucci them. There's no issues. Beautiful. Now, again, I'm going to take my time with this one, because like I really want to trick this one out, and use it as one of our flagships for like any bots moving forward. Right before, I used to be like, all right, read, copy paste, boom, boom, boom. I was really going to take my time with this one, because I really want to make sure this is Gucci them. All right, beautiful. All right, unified. Okay, I already explained that. Beautiful. All right, Gucci them, man. All right, perfect. Now review using grep and awk. Run a few terminal commands as well. We're using alpaca for the broker, for this bot. Review and make sure you understand before we proceed. Well, building on the work we have done. And if y'all see anything that I should be noticing, or another way that you build your bot, and I'm not going to hold you, I am still going to keep this terminal base, right? Because I almost considered like being able to use Streamlit or like some simple little UX, right? UX UI front end in order to make this bot, but I kind of really don't trust that yet. So I'm still going to keep these bots terminal facing, and maybe, because I was thinking maybe before I can add like Telegram, so I can control them from my phone. But maybe, right? I would have to pilot like 2 or 3 of these bots out to see like if there's something that can actually work out type shit. All right, so I made it review the data. I'm now making it review the broker that I'm going to be using, which is Alpaca, right? Now, the next thing, so you review the data and you review the broker. Now I want you to, let me give you an example of a bot to review. Which bot has memory? Hold on. Data Bros, boom. I've just added memory. I have to figure out where did I put the file, yeah. Oh, that's fun. Memory. No, no, IBKR bullshit. Okay. IBKR bullshit. Okay, hold on. All right, I know who uses memory. Shit, why can't I remember this? You know who uses Penny for You uses memory. Memory. I told you Penny for You. Okay. Penny for You. Okay. I need. All right. Let's paint this bot out real quick. I need to give you a reference one to review. Let me give you Early Worm to look at because Early Worm is not bad. Early Worm has memory too. Early Worm does not have memory. Early Worm is not a bad one to review. So let me give you Early Worm to look at. And Early Worm trades QQQ. Yep, QQQ. All right. Boom. Wait. Oh, I was about to. Never mind, because you aren't missing one file, but I'm not gonna fight over that right now. All right. Review the following bot. Then let's discuss being able to create this bot. Now you see how Early Worm, right, has unique personality emojis, right? That is specific to bot. We need something like this for this bot we're creating. Also, we need the same level of logging. Need to know when we're scanning, if rejected, why, in position, fills, etc. We want to know what the bot is doing and why, and also want to implement a signal quality to the signals and the option contracts we're going to use for auditing paper trading performance. These are not meant to be blockers. Got it? Now grep and awk to review the files, then advise findings before we discuss last thing to add. All right, perfect. We're getting ready to build our bot. Again, what I'm doing right now is just taking a few liberties. Not necessarily, but I told you to use grep and knock, but you still read the entire file. Goodness gracious, I could cuss you out. But you reset in 22 minutes, so that's fine. What we're doing right now is I gave Claude Code some reference bots from our other ones, right? Because we're building out a new one. Okay, early worm key finding. Okay, locked in. Beautiful. Okay, perfect. What strategy personnel? Okay. Give me 3 great ideas for this before we proceed. Don't make it corny or lame. Whoa. And a crazy, but thank you. You're not compacting. Chink you. Heat seeker, get the fuck. Gap attack. Sniper cute, bro. These lame ass. All right, let's think. This is. What if it's like band theme? Nope, that's kind of lame, isn't it? What if I make this? What if I make this like football theme? What if we make this football themed, right? Where there's opposing teams. Our aim is to score, and whenever defense or we have a stop loss or something adverse, defense wins. Does that make sense? Don't make it lame, but cool. Advise before we proceed. Yeah, since we're like in the heart of football season right now, you feel me? I'm kind of sad because Miami is not. I kind of should have known too, bro. But I got the Hurricanes. We're performing well, and I'm looking forward to this rematch against Ohio State. Gridiron Q. That's funny. Offense and defensive drive stands. Your bot is on offense, is trying to score, hit TP. The market is defense, trying to stop you. Field goal. Okay. Safety. Sack. Incomplete. Okay. All right. Gucci. Let's use a different set of emojis such that the football one doesn't get overused. Well, now provide. I'm taking liberties right now. I don't have to do this. I'm taking liberties because like I kind of created a strategy that's kind of fire. I'm taking liberties right now on what this bot is going to look like. What is it going to do? And we want it to have like we're playing Madden and NFL Street and 1. Got it? If this can do that, I'm like, bro, that'll be dope. I'm taking liberties right now, but come on, my youth. All right, here we go. Market is open. Position earned. Momentum. Cold Street defense. Okay, I'll take it. Snap the ball. Breaks tackle. Touchdown. Gridiron Q. Halftime. Defense holds. Game ball. All right. Play calling, audibles, hot routes, swagger logs. Okay, beautiful. What strategy? No, fuck that. Gridiron Q, bro. This is the name. Now we want to implement memory as well. See, I said penny for you, right? Yep, penny for you. Beautiful. Using grep and awk, then let's discuss well. To make sure we're on the same page. Grep and awk it. Go up. I kind of forgot there was a game today. Kind of didn't, because I'm kind of over this season. I'm talking about NFL wise. I ain't gonna say I don't know. I think that he could do it too. $24-17. That boy Phillip Rivers threw 2 touchdowns. I wish I would have been watching this game. All right, beautiful. Okay. What strategy do you want? Sniper Q. What do you mean by this? What do you mean by this? And also, before we proceed, is there any way we can improve upon the logging and feedback for the bot? And we are going to run this bot via terminal. So we want to make sure that the UX UI displays it in a way that isn't overwhelming, but doesn't lack on the info as well. That's who the fuck. Oh, Phillip Rivers hurt? Oh, he's just going in early. Season, okay. And he got it. Oh, he hit the upright. He hit the upright. That's funny. That's whatever. All right. There's 3 different trading strategies I proposed earlier. The Q type, the trending. Oh shit. You need fuck. I forgot to give it the actual strategy. My fault. I thought I gave you the strategy, bro. My fault. I thought we gave you these files. My fault. Here is what the bot is going to be based off of. Review thoroughly using grep enoch. You just read the whole file. Bro, I love when you don't listen to me. Just read the whole file right now. Don't. That's what you meant. This is interesting. Trades QQQ bouncing off VWAP and enters when the price touches VWAP or rejects. This is interesting. I want to make a strategy off that. Yeah, let me go save that real quick. I'm not gonna hold you. Maybe strat. Maybe strat. All right, the strategy, EMA plus Bollinger Bands, volatility breakout, jumper, measure, okay. Realize skewness, exit, measures the bulls and bears jumpy intraday if the RS moves against us by the expression of almost 8 to the 8th place. Exit early is the results, okay. Beautiful. Touchdown, field goal, safety, turnover. Okay, that's tight premiums. I'm not gonna hold you. Scoreboard, okay. Last scan, no breakout. All right, let's get this in. You're creating this in the following folder. Let me just go ahead and add the change log now. Make sure after each file we test to ensure ready to go and there is no issues at all, right? And ensure we follow what we've learned throughout this sprint. Well, then once done, update with what we completed. So I'm definitely going to be running this bot tomorrow. That'll be, oh, matter of fact. And what I'm going to do, copy. Let me just go ahead and get a terminal open real quick. Remember, I need to bring in the conda environment. How I know it's not there is because of base. So I want to say conda, activate, I'll go, baby. Beautiful. So I can clear. I can come back here. All right. I'm going to audit you as well, homie. Gridiron Q configs. Gridiron Q configuration for the QQQ EMA plus Bollinger Band volatility breakout strategy. Football themed. I wanted to drop it down to 2, but whatever. I wanted to drop that down to whatever. Use memory. Yep. I love it. We had to punt. We had to punt. We had to punt. That's funny. I take it. Now it's creating the position file. We're creating our bot. So this is the part of the process, right, that everybody loves, is being able to create our bot. We've already went through our strategy, right? So that was the easy part. This is a EMA Bollinger Band strategy. I've already back tested it based off the results of the back test. I don't need to use machine learning or walk forward. There's going to be a point in time where I'm going to be using this, but for right now, for this particular strategy, I don't. So it passed the back test because why wouldn't you? It went from $100 to 96K into 100,000. So I think that's okay, right? 98% win rate, not bad. So now we're developing our bot, and then tomorrow I'm going to be paper trading this particular strategy, in addition to a few others that we have too. And then depending on how it does, maybe by the turn of the year, this strategy is going to be live. So I'm interested to see how this is going to work out. All right, let's go look at our position. Let's go look at our position. Well, exit position, our position file. Beautiful. And the whole point of this stream, right, is being able to talk about the RS entry and how it definitely helped us out with our strat, and it really did. And I'm interested to see how this is going to work live tomorrow with this bot. All right, I'm just reviewing just to make sure that there's nothing that's out of place, right? If y'all do have any questions with regards to the bot and development, things like that, because this is the part everybody wants, right? With regards to being able to see, hey, how do you create your bots? Well, this is it. And all of our bots run via terminal. So I'm going to show you how this works once I'm actually done with these files. So now we're creating the main bot. So let me just go ahead and copy this file here. I already have it ready. So I'm going to hit Python. There's the file name. So as soon as it's ready to go, we're going to run it and see how well it looks. Now the market is closed, obviously, right? So it should say market closed and waiting to see how well it performs tomorrow. So tomorrow is going to be its first day actually out in the open. So I want to say like another 2 or 3 minutes or so. We should be done with this. I do have a couple of more things that I'm going to be doing, but that's admin stuff. So nothing that y'all have to see. So that's stuff that I'm going to be taking care of. But nonetheless, man, we went through the entire process here, and this was under 2 hours. So that's what's up. Yeah, that makes sense. How you shove a whole fan in his face? Like, that doesn't happen. All right. File is Gucci. So let's run it. Here it is, fam. Gridiron Q is loaded. So we have the strategy details right here. We are paper trading. The strategy does run from 9:33 to 10:44. Here's the delta ranges, the exit rules, right? And it's waiting for tomorrow because the market is currently closed right now. So we are Gucci. We have created the bot. You know what I actually want to do? Let me run it in the actual terminal so I can see how it looks in the terminal real quick. Let's run this bot in the terminal. Give me a second so y'all can see this. Go up. That's what's up. Man, we have a bot, ladies and gentlemen, that we just created. We went through our entire process, and this is what's up. This is something I'm going to be implementing a lot more so I can be a lot more focused and intentional with regards to my process here, right? So we already had our strategy idea. We back tested it. I didn't need to do the ML optimization and walk forward, right? We went to our bot development, and then tomorrow we're going to be paper trading. So that's what's up. So our bot is Gucci. Let me go ahead and let you clock out. All right, so you clocked out. So that was Gucci. Let me make sure you clock out. So what it's doing right now, it's testing the indicators to making sure it's GUAP. Okay, here's the logs. Now it's going to update the change log. Then we are practically done. So I'll stay on for like another minute or two. If y'all do have any questions, I will take any live questions from the audience or viewers. Y'all, if y'all do have any questions, please let me know. Am here to help or assist and be able to give you a little bit of insight as to what I did, right, and how I got to this point. So if you do have any questions, let me know. So right now what I'm doing is updating the change log, and we are practically done, fam. So listen, it is your boy Creative. Today is Monday, December the 22nd. I do have a few more things planned for y'all for this week's, and this is a holiday week, right? We have Joyeux Noel on the what is that, Thursday? So just have to be cautious of that. But nonetheless, we are Gucci them. I will be back at it again tomorrow to be able to paper trade this bot, so we can actually see how well this is bot perform. But this is super exciting. We have the bot; it is ready to go. Now it's just a matter of being able to paper test it and seeing how well it does in the actual market. If you haven't already, I need you to like and subscribe. And if you just are catching us now, go ahead and watch the video again so you can see how we got to this point and actually created this bot. It is your boy